With a project like this, a lot of time is spent fitting, measuring, removing and refitting. Here, Nigel needs to remove the gearbox to fit the drive shafts and shocks for his independent rear suspension.
It's a bit of an experiment. What I've gone for is 4 identical gas-charged shock absorbers. Obviously the job of a shock absorber is just to damp the suspension so it's not all wobbly. A standard shock, if you put it to that position, it will stay in that position. It literally just damps, whereas the default state of being for a gas-charged shock absorber is long, so they want to extend. So it just gives you a very, very slightly stiffer ride. Not a lot, but just to make it a little bit more sort of responsive and secure on cornering.
With these in place, Nigel can connect the brake lines.
All the flexibles are just standard pipes just brought in. The solid parts, I've just bought a length of copper brake pipe, bag of unions. I'm just having to make the pipes up to length because obviously the setup at the back is completely non-standard.
Getting the braking system finished will be a big step forward, but without an understanding partner, the anchors may have been put on the project months ago.
It's getting harder and harder as the weeks go on. Before it was just long days down there and, you know, a couple of hours each night, but each day seems to get longer and each night seems to get longer. Quite often he doesn't get in till sort of 6-ish anyway, so by the time he's had something to eat, maybe if he's got time, put Tom in the bath and put him to bed, goes down about 7:30 and maybe comes in about 2, I think. I don't know. I just go to bed and he's there when I wake up in the morning. What time he comes in, I don't know. You know, it is a bit like being single really at the minute, because we just don't see each other. We just really haven't seen each other for weeks, but we're on the final countdown now.
Nigel has given himself 2 key deadlines. First, he has to get Dipsy ready for a trip to the engine builders. Then, he has to finish the interior in time for his club AGM.
Knowing how Nigel works, it would never have got done. He really needs a target, otherwise it would have been 3 years, which would have turned into 13, really, knowing Nigel. But it does make you realise just what a huge project it is.
Luckily, his mate Tam has taken a lot of time off work to lend a hand.
It's just these painstaking things that take time that Nigel hasn't got time for, so...
Work harder!
The only thing that's really keeping me going is that I know it's going to be done, and then at least we can use it afterwards in the summer. But if you've got a full-time job and a family, I probably wouldn't recommend it, no.
Fantastic.
In terms of sourcing parts, building a custom bus has made the project a lot more manageable. If he had wanted to achieve an original stock restoration, his task would have been a lot tougher.
It's a bit harder to find the parts, and being an ambulance, there's very few of them around anyway.
Matt sourced and shipped his 1956 ambulance from Finland and spent over 18 months returning it to its former glory.
It's about 90% original. Some parts I've spent over a year searching for, and sometimes if you can't find it, then you have to fabricate it yourself. I bought the van for about 6k, and I've sunk about 4 into it.
As with most classic restorations, this has been a labour of love. It's worth around 17 grand, but without a camping interior, it'll only appeal to a narrow section of the market.
I mean, I've given it a couple of years in the show scene for people to see it. I might put a camping interior in it. At the moment I have to rough it on a tent.
That's not to say a standard camper is for everyone. The market for panel vans and pickups is booming, and they can be more practical than you think.
I went for it because I've got a family. I've had camper vans, but I find them a little bit clumsy on the road. You know, you're driving a loaded van all the time.
This is a 1976 crew cab, so called because of its double row of seats. It only set owner Rod back 7 grand, despite having over twice that spent on it.
A lot of them are imports, unfortunately. They're left-hand drive. Like this one was come from India, so underneath is like brand new still. It's never been welded. You know, it's really is absolutely rock solid.
With splitties becoming harder to find, these commercial and utility vehicles are becoming an attractive alternative.
Even though I've got this now, I still scan the internet weekly. I'd have to keep this one and another one. Just got to find room.
Nigel has just about met his first deadline. He's taking Dipsy to get a new engine. And he's hoping the boys will be a bit kinder to her than the last time they saw her.
Because it is a bag of Nigel's mental, and why the he's done this, I've got no idea.
Nigel, quick, get a magnet. That's metal. Scary to drive, won't steer, won't brake.
I predict that at least one of them will claim it's not the same van.
Back then, she ran as bad as she looked. A dyno test measured a measly
13 brake horsepower at the wheels.
It's turned into a tent. Oh, what happened here?
That happened on the way from the painters.
Oh, battle scar.
But that's it so far.
That looks really cool. The wheels are wicked, the brakes.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, that looks great. It really does.
A few minor issues still to resolve.
It's like a completely different vehicle. It looks cool.
It is the same bus.
It does look really, really good. It's not top class show running paint. It's not best of everything. It is just a nice, usable bus. It looks great, colour scheme's good, wheels are good, brakes look nice. It doesn't look like it's come out of a canal anymore. And you know, it does look good.
It doesn't look as finished as I thought it was going to be when it got
No, it looks like it's going to be pushed for time.
Oh, it is nice to be able to get under and see what's going on and not be lying on my back in the shed. It means I can just finish off all those last snaggy bits and pieces that need doing.
Nigel has booked Dipsy in for the week, so he'll have time to double check all the newly fitted components like the independent rear suspension.
On the old swing action reduction box setup, the tyre does that, which isn't good for traction, whereas with an IRS setup it's doing that. So you get the same amount of tyre touching the road all the time.
He's done so well.
He looks knackered though, doesn't he?
He looks ill. He doesn't look the best.
I did actually fall asleep under the van one day. I don't think I was out for long, but I did go.
Make him a hot sugary drink.
Yeah, let's give him some caffeine and some sugar and hope that it perks him up.
The engine is now at the long block stage and virtually ready to run. It's being temporarily fitted, ready for the exhaust and turbo install. A specially made exhaust pipe was ordered, but has failed to show up.
I mean, it's no problem, we make exhaust, but what we wanted to do was use a productionised one just to speed stuff up.
This job could take up to 2 days, which wasn't in the original time plan for the engine installation.
We've got to get a turbo and all the pipe work in an engine bay that was designed to have a sort of 35 horsepower normal bog stocker engine on it.
As with all car manufacture, it's all about the packaging.
We also make sex toys to order.
You smart ass.
That's the Nigel, I'm the
The engine is built around a turbo from a standard family car. Nigel sourced this off the internet, and it's not one the lads would have recommended. Before the turbo is fitted, the tinware needs some adaptation. This turbo is an unknown quantity and is a lot smaller than ones the lads normally fit. It's built with reliability in mind, which means the engine won't reach its maximum potential, but should serve Nigel well in the future.
It's designed to make low pressure reliably for long periods of time. It's not a race turbo, and it's not designed to push the motor really hard. Deliberately, the engine isn't highly strung, but it will still make awesome power compared to the leaking, sickly, clutch slipping, nasty thing that we did the first runs with. So it'll still be a shock to a system.
Finally, the fuel injection system is fitted and the engine is ready to be plumbed in. Nigel has spent most of his time underneath the van on jobs he hoped to have completed in his shed. This will leave him with less time to refit the interior.
I think he'll get the bulk of the jobs done, but the problem he'll find is nothing will fit. So he'll go through fitting the interior and he'll go to fit a panel or a cupboard or a seat, whatever it be, and it won't line up. And then you'll waste half an hour or an hour fixing that one problem, which delays you then 3 hours down the road once you've done that a few times. It's got to come out again anyway, so I've got to weld.
Obviously the van looks virtually finished, but there's just dozens of little jobs. You know, this little thing's got to be done. Something else has got to be done to allow another job to be done. It's that sort of thing. And one small job could turn into a major job.
There's a